Hey everybody, I am here with the CEO of Oxen, Chris McCabe, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about all of the things that have been going on, the things that are going to be going on, and what's happening at the Oxen Labs right now.
Thanks, Alex. So many things are happening right now. So many ridiculous challenges, but we're getting straight through them. So
yeah, we've had a lot of things brewing for a little while now, but I think probably a good place to start is just what is exactly the current state of Oxen? Like, how is Oxen going?
The network, fantastic. Node level, beautiful. We have LokiNet absolutely flying. We have Session killing it right now. Oxen is in quite a challenging position. We're actually, looking to make a lot of changes and sort of level Oxen up because it really shouldn't be where it is. And it seems quite clear. And even like in the last week, it seems to be a really clear reason what is holding back Oxen.
Yeah, it seems like given the success of all of the other parts of the system, Oxen should just be flying right now,
Yeah.
But something isn't quite right, and this is something that we realized probably about 6 months ago when we went to refresh Oxen, and we were like, hang on, there's more going on here, and there's more work that needs to be done. So I think there are some clear issues that we uncovered, with Oxen, and that were going to just continuously hold us back. It wasn't stuff that we could just iteratively improve. It was stuff that we needed to fully shift.
Yeah.
And what exactly were some of those things, I guess?
I think there's just so many. There's so many things. And once you start trying to resolve one, you realize, oh, then this and that and that. And so it just continues to grow until you realize that you really need to revolutionize or do a huge pivot from where you are to where you need to get to. I would say straight off the bat, I think the token economics, and just you just see so many people coming into the community going like, hey, is this inflationary? How does this work? And it seems to be too complicated for many people coming into the space. As much as we love to have super complicated technology, we love Session, we love LokiNet. A lot of people, they just want to get behind a movement or an idea and they want to get involved in that. So we're really looking to simplify everything, and that's kind of the core of it. Simplifying, unifying all the brands and the coins and the product and the process. Getting rid of the friction points with your, privacy coin, having to sync it and the wallets. We just get all these consistent complaints, and the amount of work that it actually takes to resolve that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, and especially because you can see the token not really getting out what it deserves from that effort. We could put 1,000 hours in, and you wouldn't see 1,000x with the token.
Yeah, this especially seems to be the case with the privacy coin side of things, right? It seems like everyone that we talk to and people we wanted to collaborate with, we would show them Session, we would show them LokiNet, even show them the service node network. And they'd be like, wow, this is incredible. I want to be a part of this. Yep. And then you'd be like, and it's a privacy coin. And they'd be like, never mind.
About that, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
We just can't get involved with that. It's not going to work.
Yeah. It's very frustrating because, it's something very special that we built here. Session and LokiNet are very awesome tools. Even Oxen as a concept, as a token, and what we built on top of the Monero network is a really freaking cool thing. It's just, unfortunate those three items together and that technology together isn't able to flourish.
Yeah, and then, that's investors, that's exchanges, that's, wallets, all other kinds of things, other companies and projects that might want to work together with us. It makes it so hard.
Yeah.
And even if you look at things like hardware wallets, right? It's been such a slog and such a battle to get things working on the ledger side of things, moving across, to something instead of being a standalone privacy blockchain, could open things like that up completely.
Yeah, instantly. It's an absolute sort of explosion of options here. It's like opening up the floodgates. We're so isolated and siloed, and it's not doing the applications a favor.
Yeah, and I think another issue that we've really come across, and this has been something that we've tried to come up with solutions for, is that connection between the things which are successful, like Session, and the things which make them successful, which is Oxen. And people, a lot of the time, we talk to them and we're like, hey, we're Oxen. We make Session. And they're like, oh, I love Session, but I've never heard of Oxen.
Yeah, some people don't realize. So many more people that I speak to on the street know about Session, have no idea that it's actually running on a crypto conference.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I even encountered this a little bit, when we were at a crypto conference earlier this year, people were like, oh yeah, of course I use Session. I didn't really know about Oxen though. And there's been small things that we've tried to do to make that connection a little bit stronger. Obviously, Oxen talks about Session all the time. We've been trying to get Session to talk about Oxen a little bit more, put things like powered by Oxen directly into the app. Obviously, we have like the default communities. We've got Oxen listed in there. But even still, I think people just see it and don't really think about it, aren't necessarily inquisitive about what that might be.
Yeah.
But if it's more closely tied to Session, I think that would really, really help.
Yeah, it's time to get rid of that friction point and just bring it all together.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to have these deeply separated brands, right?
So hard to explain. Oh yeah, it's this. Oh, and it works with that. Oh, and it works on top of this. And it's like, you get it. But telling anyone who doesn't already use all the applications,
it just doesn't pass the bar test, right? You've got a pint of beer in your hand and you're trying to explain it to some person at the bar, and you just sound a little bit crazy.
Yeah, like a mad scientist.
Yeah, exactly, like a mad scientist. And we don't want to sound like that.
Not too often, just occasionally.
No, we want to sound like genius entrepreneurs.
Yes. So we're making some big changes. We see there's suboptimal liquidity for Oxen, the token. We see interoperability between the applications, the token, and sort of the network, actually quite challenging to bring together. We see a lot of the challenges with regulatory sort of pressure. You can see this with a few exchanges, and they're sort of just really moving away from privacy coins. So we saw these challenges. They're pretty clear to us, and we've thought, okay, well, how do we just resolve all this in a really clear, specific plan? And let me introduce you Cent, Session Network Token. The Session Network Token is designed to bring the application that is thriving right now, which is Session. We're looking to bring LokiNet in the fold as well, with some refresh branding as well. And we are looking to move to a layer 2. So it is interoperable with sort of DeFi exchanges. Hopefully we can get involved with Uniswap, Chainflip, and all the other liquidity pools out there as well, who just make it just so easy to swap between whatever you have to Cent in the future.
Yeah, so we've got an ORC out there at the moment. So if you're curious about the nitty-gritty details of exactly what the Session Network token is, you can go and look at that. But, we've also, and there's a lot going on here. And I think, as you said, like we came up with this idea and we were like, hang on a second, this resolves all these issues which we've been grappling with, and we're like, far out, how do we deal with this?
Yep.
We were like, this is it. This is the answer. And we were like, this is a really bold play. And we really want to be sure that this is what we want to do. And the further down the road we got, the surer we were. And, we've been waiting to share this and like brimming to share this. And it's been really hard to say nothing up until now as well. I think you probably feel the same, right?
Yeah, it's funny in the communities. I feel like people go like, "Hey, you guys have been quiet. What are you guys doing?" It's like we're planning this huge bold change, Yeah.
And it's such a big play to go for, but I think we needed a big play.
Yep.
And we needed to drop something big and do something really big. And I think these challenges that came up with KuCoin over the last few days have highlighted how necessary this change really is as well.
Yeah, the timing was suboptimal, but look, it's just going to light a fire under our asses and just make us go so much harder.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of forced our hand to say something before we were necessarily ready. And there are details which aren't ironed out yet, but there are also details which are pretty ironed out and things that we are pretty sure of. And I mean, that's the overall strategy that we're going down here, and to move to a layer 2, to unify all of the brands together, bring them all into one place, as well as having a new tokenomic model. And what exactly that tokenomic model is going to be is not entirely locked in just yet. But there is one thing which we can talk about, which is the reward pool. Instead of having this inflationary model where we're minting new tokens to reward the node operators, we have this other construct which came from chatting to another project that's sort of in the space, uses a similar idea of a pool. So let's talk a little bit more about what the pool actually is, how it works, and why we want to go down that path instead.
Yeah, so I think that part of the economic model that we've had with Oxen was, by demand, node sort of emissions coming out. And the whole goal was to have a balanced or, to a degree, deflationary network. But when you keep minting tokens, it's really hard for people to really understand this quickly and easily. So we're looking to simplify all that and just cap the supply, have sort of a max supply, have a liquidity pool, any sort of payments through premium features that will be put into the pool. So, and from there, a percentage of the total pool will get paid out to node operators. So it creates this really nice, very simple sort of system where you have like application, liquidity pool, and node user base, and all like tying it all together. So, they all know about each other, and every community is sort of will provide sort of a multiplying growth effect on the other communities as well.
Yeah, I think it has huge benefits. I mean, it's simpler for one, it's more transparent, and I think it's just so much easier to explain this model of, the money from Session Pro, for example, goes into this pool, and then over time, the pool pays out to the operators.
So how does Cent and the branding of Cent from the marketing perspective, like how does it bring it all together from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, this is, I mean, to me, obviously being part of the marketing comms team, one of the most exciting parts of all of this is there's so much energy and enthusiasm around the Session brand, right? We see that with how quickly the community grows. We see that with how people respond to Session imagery and Session content all of the time. The reaction is really positive and really enthusiastic. On the flip side, with Oxen, even the Oxen community at times has been pretty down on the Oxen brand. It's not exciting to people. It's not fun. And they're a part of it and they believe in the mission behind it, but they're not necessarily super behind Oxen itself as a brand. There's just so much momentum behind Session. And by bringing Cent into the fold, it's going to create a lot more unity, as well as being able to create a much easier customer journey as well across all of the different elements of the ecosystem. Whereas at the moment, it is so hard to explain to somebody who knows about Session what Oxen is and why it's a part of it and why it exists, or even what LokiNet is, even though it's, really in the same realm with Session in many ways. It becomes very confusing to be like, oh, and there's this other thing with a completely different, unrelated name, completely different, unrelated brand, but it's also cool and it runs on the same network and uses the same crypto, which you've never heard of. And so I think that this is just going to reinvigorate the branding and the energy and enthusiasm behind the token that we haven't had for a really, really long time, I don't think. Possibly even since back in Loki days, or maybe even, never will we have the excitement that we're going to have with Cent.
Yeah. On that, I would say I love the concept, and I think that it's going to bring down the ability to speed up the ability to give a really good elevator pitch. So it's like, hey, you're like, what do you guys do? Cent, Session, the application, Cent, Session Network Token, and then Session on your router. It's just really easy to bring it all together. And it's like, here you go, here's the package. That's the ecosystem that you're getting involved with. Right now, you're like, oh, what are you doing? Talking about an animal. What are you doing? Talking about Session. What are you talking about LokiNet? What are you talking about? And it's just no, this is what it is. And this is what you're being brought into. This is what you're a part of now.
It really makes it, and I mean, especially because Session and Oxen as well, really positions itself as being a movement. It's something which has a mission. It's something which has values. It really helps to bring all of that together and unify it under one brand and make it this whole movement behind Session.
Yeah, I think it's vital that we do that as well. We're just losing people with the confusion, and now it's just bringing together. Now we're one.
So obviously we have so much we're so focused on Cent right now, and we've dropped this ORC, and the community is, reading it and rereading it and talking about it and asking questions. But one of the questions which I think a lot of people will be asking, and probably I should be asking this question as well, is what do I do with my Oxen right now?
Yeah, I have a really clear plan. I want to really reward all Oxen holders and node operators, especially because they are the backbone and the core of the network. They are vital for Session to work effectively. They're vital for LokiNet to work effectively. They're sort of, they're extremely needed and very valuable to the network. So it's in our best interest to reward the node operators and Oxen holders as best we can. Unfortunately, I called my lawyer and he's like, don't say a word. don't say it yet. I want to just say give everyone a big hug and be like, let's do this together. But I just can't say those words yet. I can't say exactly what it is, and saying anything,
until we're doing it.
Until we're doing it, I just can't. I'm not allowed to talk about it because, as much as I love to, and I think everybody deserves the information, our hands are absolutely bound and tied, and we're moving as fast as we can to make this happen. But yeah, it's to a degree out of our hands.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to stress the fact that if you're operating a node or contributing to a node, you are going to be rewarded, because especially during this transition period, probably one of the most important things is the network continues to run, and that Session still has the infrastructure behind it. LokiNet still has the infrastructure behind it that it needs to keep growing and keep thriving during this period. Because the worst thing would be, people go and try to, move into Oxen or move into something else, because we really need the service node network to keep thriving in the way that it is right now. And so, to facilitate that, because, we can't just expect people to do it because they feel like it, we're really going to heavily reward people who are running nodes.
Yeah. So we did the ORC. We really want to work with the community on this. I'm really excited to get a lot of more feedback. I've been reading through a lot of the feedback now, which is really awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about, is there anything in there particular that's sort of getting you a bit hyped up?
I'm very psyched just about the community's response so far. And I'm really so happy. It fills me with glee to see people have such a positive response. Because, I felt a sense of trepidation because I didn't know how people were going to react to all of this.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really... we've been grinding, like we've been pouring our hearts and souls and minds into this for a little while now. And I really wanted other people to be as excited as I was. And it seems like people are, which is really, really cool to see. I've seen some people even pop in and suggest like, oh, this is a great idea. Love where you're heading with this. Maybe we can integrate with you. Maybe we can be interoperable. Maybe we can work together, which... like as we've talked about in the video, is one of the major reasons that we wanted to do something like this. Makes it more possible people to just rock up, walk in the door and be like, hey, let's do something. And we'd be like, yeah, let's do it. So that is really, really exciting. And at the moment, the thing that I am really focused on is making sure that we gather all of the feedback, all of the thoughts and questions and information that people have and are trying to give to us, and can make use of it and make sense of it and do it together and then move forward as a group.
Yeah, I think it was really good that we did the ORC. I think it was a really good way to open up to community, to be like, this is what we're thinking. In the past, we've sort of gone a bit harder and been like, this is exactly what we're doing. Like, we really don't want to swear on this. Like, this is the way we're going. But this time it's like, this is what we think is best. We're taking feedback. We're going to get to this point. It's created new challenges, but it's also invited the community in a lot closer as well. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, which is really great. And I think it is the first step in, I guess, a new era between us and the community as well, hopefully. And hopefully things will be way more positive and collaborative and involved going forward with Session Network Token and Session and everything.
So what's next, Alex? What do you know? What's around the corner?
Well, next week we're going to be sitting down and doing an AMA. It'll be on a video with you and myself, as well as Key, Josh, and Jason. We're going to answer all of those early questions that the community no doubt has about the ORC and this video and other information which might be shared between now and then. So if you do have any questions, there will be a link down in the description for you to submit those. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. So please have a think, write down your question, submit it. Looking forward to hearing from you. And as well, just thank you to everybody for your response so far. And I'm really looking forward to continuing on this path with all of you and down this journey and collaborating a lot more in the future.
Yeah, very keen. Looking forward to the AMA. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely one.
See ya.
See ya.